Hello everybody, this is Evan Rogers and I have just now gotten over the cold. You can maybe still hear the scratchiness in my voice, but I put it off making videos as long as I could because my voice was a train wreck. And I figured I would come back just in case my voice is a little bit bad today with a goofy thing that I found online in my departure. A few things to say. First, we have been making some great gains because we go to the gym with the Patreon subscribers. We got 5, and I'm making some money, and people are hopefully benefiting with that. You guys can get lots of goodies. Go check it out, Patreon and Subscribestar.com. Both are /EvansEasyJapanese. That being said, on my Facebook page, I think it's just Evans Easy Japanese. There should be links in the video down here. I have been posting translations of the NHK Easy News article. So there's headlines to news articles at my Facebook page. I could do it through Twitter, but good God, if that's annoying. You have to do like each one, and then sometimes just a single headline is too many characters. Then Gab does the same thing. So I've just been doing that on Facebook. Sorry, but if you want to see the headlines translated and you can make comments and questions, go check out the Facebook link down in the doobly-doo. In the meantime, I came across this meme again, or this, I don't know if it's a meme. It's a joke post. I don't know. It's some sort of dumb picture. In case you can't see it, it says, "In Japan," and they do cool font for Japan because, Japanuru. It says, "We don't say I love you. We say," and then it has a whole bunch of Japanese. It says, which roughly translates to, "Let us never be apart." And I think that's beautiful. Okay, so the reason why I'm doing this is because, first off, I'm going to read what it says here. It says, "Oretachi wa ima, ika de seksu o motsu." So the thing is, the joke is that they're going to take this Japanese sentence to make sure it actually means "let us never be apart." So they put it into Google Translate, and it says, "Oretachi wa ima, ika de seksu o motsu." And they translate it, and they get the reading down here, and it says, "We're having sex with Squid now." Which is close enough to actually being the translation of the sentence, and yet being incredibly not the translation of this sentence. I want to talk about how hilarious this translation is. Okay, so the joke is that they're not actually saying "let us never be apart." And if you learn how to say this and you say this to somebody, then what you're saying is, we're having sex with Squid right now. If you were to show this sentence to a Japanese speaker, like me, or any native speaker, or somebody who has really, you can kind of disprove that this means what it means with a JLPT N5 understanding, maybe an N4. An N4, I think you'd be confident enough to say this doesn't make enough sense. Okay, so what I did was, because this is grainy and it's difficult to see, is I made a Microsoft Word of this sentence, and I want to break down how funny this is. Not just because it's actually a dumb joke that's like, ha ha ha, you're going to say something horribly offensive, but also because it's wrong and yet it's right. Okay, so let's talk about this. We have "Oretachi wa ima ika de seksu o motsu." All right, so I accidentally put the Hiragana over the Katakana, and so we have Hiragana over seksu, so sorry, but not ika. I must have deleted that one. Oh, wells, that's the way it goes. Hopefully that'll help somebody. Anyway, so let's talk about this. We have 3 particles in this sentence, and we have a verb, okay? So let's talk about this. Remember, the translation was, "we are having sex with Squid right now." So indeed, we have "oretachi." Ore is a blunt, very somewhat it's masculine. It's a manly way. I'm a manly man, or man in tights. This is a manly way of saying "me" or "I." And then the "tachi" here makes it plural. This is one of the few ways to pluralize something. So this literally would, the best translation for "oretachi" would indeed be "we," especially with this wa particle after this. The wa particle is kind of like a topic marker. It identifies what everything that comes after it is talking about. So it's like, "as for oretachi, ima ika de seksu motsu." Okay? Then we have the word "ima," which is now. I'm surprised I didn't use the kanji. Maybe I'll throw the kanji in there. Ima. Okay, there's the kanji for now, ima. Ding. And I'm going to separate it with some spaces to make it a little bit easier to read for those out there. And then we have "ika," This is the word for squid. They wrote it in Katakana, which is the common way of writing ika, even though it's a native Japanese word. And then we have the particle de. There are only a few translations of de that could really function in this sentence. And the best one, because de can be a place of action, so that would mean that you're motsuing at the location of squid, which isn't how they translated it. Remember, they translated it, we're having sex with squid. So if you're having sex with squid, you're not really having sex at the location of a squid. It's almost like you're together with the squid making sweet, passionate love, right? But dead doesn't have that meaning. And this is where things kind of get funny. Dead, the closest meaning of dead to what they're trying to say is that it's a tool to perform the verb. So we have a verb, and we're going to use a tool to do it. So, for example, you're going to eat cereal with a spoon. So that's sort of with feeling, with a spoon with. So remember, that's hilarious. So like eating cereal with a spoon, that idea of with a spoon is how the Google Translating got the idea of with squid, having sex with squid. So think about what that means. That means that like you're using the squid for the purpose of having sex, right? Like, I don't want to get it too freaky, but I mean, it's not like, it's like rapey. It's not like you're passionately embracing the squid and enjoying it. It's like they're the tool, and that's the means by which you're performing the sex. The means by which you're doing all that. So let's just go ahead and bring up that translation again to see how fun. Do you see? Hopefully you can see why this is so funny. Because it's Oretachi wa ima ika de sexu o motsu. But this having sex with squid, if you just hear that, like it sounds like you're making love to a woman or to a squid, like you're both together in on it. Whereas this de particle is saying like that's the tool that we're using to do the verb, and the verb is apparently having sex. So like in the same way you eat cereal with a spoon, you're having sex with a squid. You see how that's absolutely hilarious? Like the translation of this, by the way, this sentence, no Japanese person understands. Like if you throw this to a Japanese person, they're like, what are you trying to say? And I'm showing you why it doesn't make any sense. Okay. So the first thing that's the big trip up is the tool by which you're having the sex is a squid. So what does that even mean? All right, let's go back to the Word document. All right, so the next one is sekusu, which, yeah, I mean, that word does exist in Japanese. It's just, there's other ways to say make love or have sex, blah, 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 blah. But notice, sekusu is a noun, and it goes into an O particle. So usually when we have a verb that's like to perform a noun, like to study, benkyou suru, to do the studying, we're going to use shimasu or like suru or that's usually the verb that follows is some form of suru. However, here we have the verb motsu. Oh, by the way, the O particle, for those of you who are unaware, is the direct object of a transitive verb. It's a direct object of a transitive verb. It has a few other slightly different meanings, but that's the general gist of it. Now, that's your N5, N4 meaning. However, notice that the verb that we have is motsu. And that is literally to hold something. Like you're holding something. Like I'm holding a Starbucks mug that used to have coffee in it. I drank it a little while ago. So like holding something is kind of the same thing as like having something. And so do you see how this is to have sex? It's like in the same way that you have a car, you are having sex. So So maybe you're wearing a shirt right now. Hopefully, if you're not, and I just caught you, you got to make a post in the YouTube comment. You got to say, I'm not wearing a shirt. Or, hey, underwear too. If you don't have underwear, then you have to make a comment. Maybe use a different ID. But if I caught you, like if the same way that you have a shirt, that in this sentence, in the same way that you possess a shirt, like you're holding a shirt, or maybe, you're holding, I don't know what, a Starbucks coffee mug, the same way that you're holding this is the same idea as how they're having sex. Like, I have a Starbucks mug. Oh, I have a sex, right? so 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 they're holding / possessing the noun that is sex, and the means by which they're possessing the sex is with a squid. So this literally means, in Japanese, the sentence is saying, as for us, right now, we hold sex using a squid. So there's something that's called a sekusu, and they're holding it, and the thing that they're holding it with isn't their hand, they're using a squid to hold it. That's what this sentence means. And we're not even done. We're not even done with the insanity. This is motsu. This is the non-perfective. Sorry. That's what one textbook would call it. An imperfective. But really it's a non-complete form. So this actually means do, hold, or have, will hold. So this almost says I occasionally do hold sex using squid right now. So the word now, ima, doesn't make sense because of the motsu it's almost like I routinely, like every day I hold sex with a squid, using a squid. Now. Every day I do something now? That doesn't make any sense. So, as for us, right now I do things on the regular. How do you right now do things on the regular? I mean, does that even make sense? Like, is that even a thing we could say even in English? So, or it could be future. Like, maybe he will do this in the future, which further makes confusion. Hey, as for us, we will hold the thing known as sex using a squid right now. We will do that now. How do you will do something now? That doesn't make any sense. So I wanted to point out the absolute hilariousness of this meme. This is one of those jokes that there's the joke of the, ha ha ha, this is a funky thing to say to somebody instead of saying I love you, right? Like, we don't say I love you. We say I'm having sex with squid right now. Ma. Then I tricked you into saying you're having sex with a squid right now. But because you understand Japanese, you can see the further depth of how just insane this is. So think about the person who typed all this into the Google search, right? They must have typed in like to have, and they got the verb motsu. And so they just copied motsu and saved it for later. And then they must have said like with squid. Like, so they typed in with squid. And instead of getting like ikato, which would have been better, ikato, or maybe even ika ni would have been better. Ni or to would have been better. In fact, I suppose I should show you how to say this properly, but I shouldn't. I guess if we're talking about all this stuff, I guess I should teach you how to do this properly. We'll do this next. So they must have typed in like with squid and gotten like the tool of squid, like using a squid as a translation, and they didn't realize it because Google Translate didn't translate it properly. And then since they wanted now, they typed in now and got ima, but they forgot that when you do ima, you have to conjugate the verb properly, but they just ignored holding and having. And then they probably typed in sex because you're going to have sex. So what they got was they had a seksu o motsu, which I wonder, actually, maybe I should try actually Google translating this. I'll do that next. So what you can see is that the person who actually made this meme or this joke or this image didn't know what the heck they were doing. And they went to great efforts to get the translation they wanted, and yet it's so wrong. It's so wrong, but yet we get the right English, but it's so wrong. Let's see what Google Translate actually does if we type this sentence in there. Okay, here we go. Okay, so here we are at Google Translate, which I'm using in the Chrome app, which I don't recommend Chrome anymore. I recommend Brave browser to everybody, so I highly recommend Brave browser, but that's not important. Let's go ahead and type this in right now. So we'll do ore tachi wa ima ika de sekusu o motsu, and see what we now have sex with squid. So it looks like, I don't know how they got the we are having with this. So indeed, I think no matter, This image was made years ago because I remember seeing it at least a few years ago, and I made a post on Reddit about how just absolutely hilarious the grammar is, that they use this grammar to actually get the translation. But notice how the oretachi wa motsu. So Google either has updated or they did some trick here. Either the people who made the image did a trick, which is highly likely, or Google has updated to realize that ima doesn't always mean be doing, like are having. So we now have sex with squid. That's almost a funnier transition. We now have sex with squid. But notice how Google still hasn't figured out that ika de should be in some way differentiated. So ika de means with squid, but it means like the tool, like with a spoon or like with a knife or like with a 10-foot pole. Not like together with like enjoying the presence of somebody. Like I went to the movies with my father. It's a very different with than to eat cereal with a spoon, right? It's not like, oh, you lay down the spoon and you're like, please, let's eat some cereal. And your spoon is eating the cereal together with you, right? So that's very much different. Okay, so since I got you and since I should do this, let's actually try to get the right translation. Here we go. Okay, so oretachi wa is, in my opinion, fine. Ima is totally fine. However, this is a group 1 verb and we want currently doing. So I'm going to go with te. Oops, I'm not in Japanese mode. Doink. Te iru. With a verb that is currently happening, usually the te iru form is here. However, the verb is wrong. Motteru. I mean, we're not actually holding sex, right? So, I mean, if it were up to me, I should maintain the subjunctive. I would just go maybe with sexo shiteru. I'm pretty sure it's just the shiteiru verb. Then it wouldn't be ika de. It'd be either ika to or it would be ika ni. So you could either do ni or to. I think ni would feel a little bit more rapey, and then to would be a little bit more together with them. That's kind of how I would translate this. Oretachi wa ima ika to sexo shiteru yo. Which this is what they were trying to say. Okay. All right. Hopefully this was at least a fun one. I figured I'd come back with a bang after my after my sore after a bang with my sore throat. That's horrible. After my sore throat and everything, I'd come back with a bang, and I figured this would be a fun one to do. So, hey, have yourselves a happy dappy day. I unfortunately this came out right before Easter, which is probably a bad day to release something like this, but figured it'd be pretty funny. Have yourselves a great day. Peace out, guys.